Thank you. Mr. Ngige, Mr. Ozekhome is concerned about what appears to be like waste if we go by the president not ascending to this bill. He talks about the man hours that were wasted, the resources, the money budgeted for the technology that INEC has gone to bring in. He thinks it's a waste, and such a thing should not happen, especially if we say we are a nation seeking to move forward. He's wondering why we would want to be going back.
Well, let me say that the money that INEC is spending on this election is not on any technology as such. It's not because of the amendment that INEC is spending the money. The amendment, if you remember, includes a provision to take care of Ngige scenario, where a candidate dies in the course of the election. The extant law only provides where a candidate dies before the commencement of the election. So these are can you say that because of that provision, INEC has spent billions? It doesn't require any expenditure. Now, I'm talking about generating results or transmitting results.
That's a good provision.
Yes, a good provision, I agree.
Good.
Transmitting results from polling units. There's nothing that will cost INEC to do that. It's not they use their handset or they use the card reader to transmit the result to the collation officer. It will not cost anything more than it's costing now. And also, let me mention it here that no election is perfect. Even the American midterm election that was held early in November, there are already issues of electoral manipulation that has come up. Some are going for a run. Some manipulations have been found here and there. And then the main election of 2016 was hacked because they are using technology. So no election is foolproof. What we have at the current situation is that you have a card reader for accreditation as option A. Then you have manual accreditation in case the card reader fails as option B. I don't see anything that is wrong with that.
But INEC has said...
thing
Mr.
that will give us credible election is the personnel that will man that process. Even if you bring the best of our technology and you bring fraudulent or dishonest people to man the process, the system will still be manipulated.
Okay, Mr. Ngige,
so
let's bring this into... Let's bring this in, Mr. Ngige.
Let INEC give us people that will handle that election, that are very honest, that will follow the rules, that will follow the provisions in the Electoral Act. We can still get a free and credible election in 2019. Okay,
Mr. Ngige, let's bring this other bit that INEC continues to say. I mean, INEC was here in our studio last week, and they've said there will be no incident form. The INEC Director of Education was here. He says there will be no incident form. So if you come in there, you're doing accreditation, and your name wasn't captured, your name is missing, you'll be captured there and then accredited, and then you can go on to the elections. But if they don't have the legal backing for all of this, won't you lawyers take them to court at the end of the day that there's no legal backing to all of this?
That's the issue.
No lawyer will complain about there's no legal backing since the extant law permits INEC to follow any of the options. The INEC saying that there won't be any incident form is based on administrative decision, policy decision. We are not going to, all things being equal, that the card reader will not fail. But you know that some people, as INEC is preparing for election with card reader for accreditation, that some people are also getting software that they can deploy at electoral centers to shut down the card reader from working. That technology is available. It's like when you come in certain places where you will not have access to your phone. Your mobile phone will be blocked, that you can't have access. The same thing can be done to a card reader. You can bring a machine that can be used to block the operation of a card reader. in certain places.
Is it
So
that,
that's why INEC should not put its eggs in one basket, that you are going to do the whole election on cadre, no incident form. There cannot be any election without incident.
okay, Mr. Ozekhome, one of the reasons, or the reason the president gave, the first reason, that this would cause any real or apparent change to the rule this close to the election may provide an opportunity for disruption and confusion in respect of which law governs the electoral process. Now, Mr. Ngige has talked about people working on personal software that they can use to truncate the working of the card reader. Would you consider these enough reasons to stay on and walk through the other processes?
One of the, a lot of people think that INEC is all about holding elections at intervals, you know, for candidates running for elections. A lot of Nigerians do not know that one of the major functions of INEC is public education, to educate members of the public, the voting populace, about their strategy, about what they are doing, about how to do it. How many television advertorials are we seeing, for example, from INEC, telling the world, you are going to vote from 16th of February next year. These and these are what you should do. You take step A, you take step B, you take step C. I do not think that there is anything too close to election for us to do as a nation if we have to get it right. It is just a question of mass education. Newspaper advertorials, television advertorials, that this is where we are. These are the rules. For example, an introduction, an innovation that says publish all voters list in your website to be accessible to the entire world, rather than just going from polling unit to display them, when many people may never even go to their polling unit. All they need to do is just to click at your website and they can see their name there and they can make corrections and all that. I think, again, I want to emphasize that the innovations are more salutary, more auspicious than whatever little deficiencies Mr. President may have perceived. And I also believe that he didn't need to always wait for the expiration of 30 days. Well, we are now suddenly talking about his handlers who advised him to say that this is wrong. If a document is sent to you for more than 60 days, you are still with the document. More than 30 days, you are with the document. If you see anything wrong in it, why don't you quickly make your views known and send back to the National Assembly so that they themselves can have ample time to sit down and retool it? But when you wait for the 30 days given under Section 54, subsection 4 of the Constitution to elapse, and then you send it back, all you are inviting the National Assembly to do is to use their legislative powers under Section 54, subsection 5, to say we want to override, we have to veto you by overriding your refusal of assent. I think all these legislative, executive hiccups can always be removed with a better working relationship between both arms of government, so as to remove suspicion and so as to remove incidents of power tussle as to who has more power or who has more means.
Mr. Ozekhome, as we're winding down now, so just tell us what's the way forward, what should be done now?
The way forward, as far as I'm concerned, is that the electoral bill as amended, I have read through carefully, more than 20 innovations that we put our elections on a stronger pedestal, on a higher pedestal, making it more transparent, more, fairer, more justice-oriented, and imbued with more integrity. I believe that the new Electoral Act ought to be passed. And if the National Assembly can muster the required two-thirds majority votes, they should override and veto Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ngige, what's to be done next, real quick?
Elections come 2019. The question of state
Mr. Ngige
does not arise because 2019 is very significant.
Mr. Ngige, weighing on this as we wind down. Mr. Ngige, what should we be doing now?
I'm waiting for my brother to, to stop. Okay, my own take is that the National Assembly should have an open mind, look at the reasons given by Mr. President, do the corrections, send back. Notwithstanding the ECOWAS protocol, I believe that if they correct all those legislative errors in that bill, I will advise Mr. President, in order to fulfill our righteousness, to assent to that bill, notwithstanding the timing that's too close to the election. Because there is a point there, but to remove all doubts about his intention to give us or to allow for a free and credible election, if they do the corrections, let him assent to it. It now comes to making sure that the law is brought to the attention of all the stakeholders. Let the gazetting be done, come out quickly so that INEC staff, INEC lawyers, legal practitioners in election petition will have access to the new law and see how it applies to the election being conducted. But where a law is passed and nobody is aware of it, and there is confusion on the day of election, it's better to maintain the status quo.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ngige, for sharing your thoughts with us. Mr. Ngige is a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Meka Ngige, and a constitutional lawyer. He joined us from our Abuja studio. Also there was Mr. Mike Ozekhome, also a constitutional lawyer and a human rights activist, senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts. Sunrise Daily will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.